Welcome to this recording of the Greenfield Commonwealth Virtual School Open House. Welcome everyone. My name is Greg Runyon. I'm the Director of Teaching and Learning and the Principal at Greenfield Commonwealth Virtual School. Just here to give a quick overview of just a little bit of information about the school. So at the very beginning, at a high level, GCVS we are entering our 10th year of operation as a public school. We are a full-time online public school of choice. That is open to any Massachusetts K-12 student. You must be a Massachusetts resident to be part of our school. So a foundation of our school really is the way in which we work with the family and the students. Obviously, this is school that typically happens in the home. So the connection between the student, the family, the learning coach, the identified adult that's supporting the student, and GCVS is very tight. And I'll talk a little bit more throughout the presentation here around how we have supports in place and the staff in place to really support students in their journey, in their learning, particularly if they're transitioning to online learning in the first place. So how is GCVS like other public schools? So we are a Massachusetts public school. So we teach the Massachusetts curriculum is taught by licensed teachers. You have to be a licensed teacher in order to be part of our school. Just like any other public school in Massachusetts. They have opportunities to interact with classmates during live lessons. I'll also talk about meetups and opportunities for students to get together physically. But during the live lessons, students are very much interacting with their classmates, with their teachers, and really starting to build community. We offer special education, Section 504, and Title I services, just like you would in any other traditional school. We have high school guidance counselors who help students with course selection, making sure that they're on track to graduate and complete their high school careers, but also college and career planning, all the work that a guidance counselor does. They work with our students in that regard. We offer art, musical, and physical education at all levels, K through 12. And of course, just like any other public school in the state, we are required to administer the MCAS test. Other ways we're like public schools, there is no cost to Massachusetts students or families. We are free. We are a public school, of course. We offer honors and advanced placement options at the high school level. We have dual enrollment options, and we have a special partnership with the Greenfield Community College that enables students to take online college level courses with Greenfield Community College. There's more information on our website about that program that we're just launching and piloting with the Greenfield Community College, but we're very much excited about the potential there. We have National Honor Society at the high school level. So again, students that are eligible and qualify, they're able to put that on their college applications. We offer clubs and field trips. Clubs are typically happen virtually, but shared interests among students, they're able to come together virtually with a faculty advisor and spend some time together. Field trips or meetups, again, I'll talk a little bit about that more later on, but opportunities for students to get together in a physical setting. We offer Massachusetts diploma to graduating seniors. Again, we teach the Massachusetts Mass Core curriculum, it's called. And so the recommended curriculum that Massachusetts students should have, we do offer that, and that is our graduation requirement. So just very briefly, a long list of schools, and we do need to update this from last year's graduating class, but we know students graduate with us and go on to have success in college and career. So just a short list of acceptances of some of our students within the last 10 years, and the graduating class has grown every single year. How are we different from public schools? So obviously being online is very different in and of itself, but we have more flexibility. We are not bound by buildings or bells. So we don't have those structures in place that sort of limit what we are able to do. And so without those limitations, we're able to offer some pretty unique programs and opportunities for students. So we have two primary models of working with our students. The first is GCVS Live. That is teacher-led live lessons, and well, of course, with online assignments. So GCVS Live is in grades K through 12. You're meeting with your teacher live on a regular schedule every day, or if you're middle or high school, it might be a few days a week that you meet with your teacher. And then the teacher is driving the curriculum, and the teacher is leading the live lessons. And so based upon where the students are at and how they're doing with the curriculum, the teacher may adjust. So just like you would in a traditional brick and mortar school, the teacher is driving the curriculum all within our learning management system. We are also offering new this year, GCVS Flex, which is teacher facilitated asynchronous courses. Now what that means is that there's not the same live lesson component. You are using a system called Ingenuity. I'll talk a little bit about that in just a little bit, but you're logging into the system and you're learning from the system, watching videos or reading, interacting with the system. You're getting your primary instruction from the system, and then you have a teacher assisting or facilitating you in your learning, and you can connect with that teacher via email, set up face-to-face time, virtually, of course, if necessary. But again, the focus is very much on learning from the system, and a teacher is facilitating the learning versus the live component. So there are some differences there. With the Flex, it is, you don't have that live component, so you don't have that same sort of structured schedule during the day where, at 9 o'clock you have your biology class, and then at 10:30 you have your Algebra 2 class, and this repeats itself Mondays and Thursdays, for just as a brief example. The Flex, the courses are very much designed to be asynchronous, so the students are working through it at their own pace on a less of a structured schedule. So we know that's going to work for some students that need some of that less structured schedule for whatever reason, life circumstances that they have, that's something that they may prefer. But we know there are many students that need that structure and that support, and of course that direct live connection with the teacher to facilitate the learning. So we offer both. The Flex model is available in grades 9 to 12. We will work with some students, but only on a per student basis in grades 6 through 8. Again, we want to make sure that we understand the circumstances why someone might be seeking out GCVS Flex if they're in the middle school grades, and to make sure that they have the support necessary, because again, it is designed to be much more of an independent kind of learning environment, again, supported by a teacher versus live, in which it's led by a teacher. There's some more information on the website about these two different programs, and of course you can contact the school for some more information as well. So what does a typical schedule look like for GCVS Live? Now again, Live is the only option available in kindergarten and the predominant option in middle school, or kindergarten, excuse me, elementary school and middle school. But in the elementary school, what does your day look like? So generally you start your day with a whole class morning meeting. The whole class is together. So that's a big group potentially, but you're doing different community building activities. You're talking about the logistics of the day, things that are upcoming, you're sharing, you're doing some general learning at that point. And that's, again, whole class community building part of your day. Then throughout the rest of the day, you'll have small group instruction primarily. So while you may have 25, 30 students in the whole class morning meeting, your reading group or your math group may only have 4 or 5 students, and the teacher will work with these small group instruction and groups of students throughout the day to support the students in their learning where they're at. So when the student is not in a small group instruction live session, of course, they have work they need to be working on in workbooks or online, different activities that they're supposed to be doing to support the learning. But again, the small group instruction happens periodically throughout the day. We also offer art, music, and PE once a week to elementary students, so they have the opportunity to have a little bit of break from traditional academic work and potentially, have some fun with the art, music, and physical education. At the middle school, grades 6 through 8, Monday through Thursday, you have structured live classes, and they're scheduled. So when you have your math class, when you have your English class, your science, your social studies class, right? So that Monday through Thursday, you have a structured schedule in which these classes are meeting, and the live classes you're expected to go to. We also have a quarterly rotation of art, music, PE, and technology. That means you will have one quarter of art, followed by a quarter of music, PE, technology. So at any given time, you'll have 5 courses, the 4 core courses, English, math, science, and social studies, and 1 of the specials that will rotate every quarter. Monday through Thursday, you have these live classes scheduled. Friday is intentionally set aside as individually scheduled extra help or support or enrichment activities. So there's no scheduled live classes on Friday, but you're expected to be working with your teacher on support that you need or doing enrichment activities. And so you are still very much doing school on Friday. It's just we don't provide that initial structure there so that teachers can be flexible in terms of how they're supporting students and helping students as they work their way through the curriculum. So I know our teachers on Friday, they're busy all day long. They're meeting with groups of students throughout the day to support them in their learning. But we also use Friday as an opportunity to offer some extra enrichment activities for students at the middle school level. So the live structure for high school, what does it look like? You'll have a schedule that'll look very much like a brick and mortar schedule with some couple key differences. Core academic classes meet two to three times per week. So you don't meet 5 days a week with your core classes. You have 2 to 3 times per week, but you know when those live classes are scheduled to meet. So again, you have biology at 9 o'clock and then Algebra 2 at 10:30, and that repeats itself Monday and Thursday. And then you have a different structure in courses that meet Tuesday, Friday. Wednesday's kind of a unique opportunity to work with teachers and get some extra help and support as well. But the idea is that you have a structured schedule. Rare is the case that a student is back to back to back to back with classes all day long at all levels. Unlike a brick and mortar in which students have to be scheduled for every minute of the day, because you can't have them just wandering the halls, we're able to have more flexibility, and we can have breaks of time in the day in which a student might not be necessarily in a live class, but of course that's when they're able to do their reading homework or their math assignment or meeting with a teacher one-on-one for support. So it's structured, but there's gaps in the day when students are not in a live lesson. And of course, every grade level, K to 12, there's a break in the day where lunch is scheduled, right? So there's no classes scheduled and lunch is very much scheduled. So it's not like you squeeze it in where you can. We have built that into the schedule. So the core academic classes and the academic electives meet two or three times per week. We do have electives at the high school level, music, art, and PE, which will meet 1 time a week. So again, that will be scheduled time, structured time when you're meeting in live lessons, but obviously when you're not in live lesson, you still might be completing work for one of your classes. So GCVS really uses the latest in technology. When I speak with some family and friends about what it is I do and what the school is like, I do say in all honesty that what we're doing today, we couldn't do 5 years ago. Now, again, of course, the school existed 5 years ago, but where educational technology has gone in the last 5 years has really opened up the possibilities for us. So we have Canvas here, which is our learning management system. So all students will have accounts in Canvas. That is our school building, if you will. That's where you log into your account, you get your assignments, you get your course schedule is in there, your calendar, so you can see every assignment that's upcoming, every live lesson that's upcoming. That's where you access your assignments. That's where you submit your assignments. It's where you message your teachers. There's a messaging system within there. So Canvas is basically our school where all that happens. Ingenuity is the platform that we're using for the GCVS Flex program. Very much a self-contained program and platform where, again, you're logging into that, accessing all your courses. Again, the Ingenuity Flex program, you are primarily getting instruction from the system with the support of a teacher versus the live, all the content and everything lives in Canvas, but again, the instruction is very much driven by and led by a teacher. Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, that is our live lesson platform. So that's where students will interact with their teachers and their peers in live lessons. And there's lots of cool ways in which you can use the tools that are there to really engage students in learning with various breakout groups and polling activities and interactive activities. So that's some of the technology that we bring to bear. Other technologies that we use to keep students safe online. So first off, every student that requests one can receive a loaner Chromebook from the school. It's open to any student. It's no eligibility requirement. If you request a loaner computer, you can have one issued from the school. Again, loaner. If you leave the school, you would have to return it. In fact, once you come off our domain, the loaner Chromebook really becomes a useless computer if it's no longer on our domain. But we also offer not only the Chromebooks, but the security and filtering technologies that we are using to monitor students in the moment and monitor their activity online to make sure that the web searches are filtered and that it's primarily school that is happening. We know there's a lot of distractions on the internet, obviously, so the ability to control this to the extent that we can, keep students safe is something that we do take very seriously here. Other other technologies that we use to support the learning. So our curriculum, of course, is aligned with the Massachusetts frameworks. The middle and high school, we utilize curriculum from the Florida Virtual School. So they sell their curriculum, and we have their curriculum loaded into our learning management system. Again, that's essentially like the textbook. And then the teacher, of course, can customize that curriculum in their course to the extent that they want as part of the GCVS Live. And so, the curriculum is designed to be delivered online, but it is aligned with the Massachusetts curriculum framework. Accelerate Education is the curriculum that we're going to be using in the K-5 level, so very much geared towards younger learners, and very interactive in a way that will hopefully engage students that are in the early grades. E-Dynamic Learning, Learning AZ, MobiMax. I could put some other technologies up here. We continue to find and utilize different technologies that support students in their learning, that provide remediation or extra help if students need it, but also tools that help students engage in the learning, and hopefully make learning fun. So a lot of those tools and technologies are out there, and our teachers continually find these, and just about every month I'm getting hit by a teacher says, I found this is a very cool resource, can we bring it on board for our school? So we are very much at the edge of education and technology, and it's kind of an exciting place to be because it's all about how to engage the learner in the best way possible. Mentioned briefly meetups. So throughout the school year, we do get together. We have an end of the year picnic, which is what the image that we have here, where students are coming together at the end of the year to celebrate the completion of the school year. They get to meet their peers, they get to be with their teachers. And so we have a end of the year picnic where everyone comes together, and it's a fun activity. Throughout the year, though, we also have meetups throughout the state. Meetups are not required. Obviously, every student is encouraged to attend them, but of course, we can understand that you may not want to drive 2 hours to a particular meetup. But here's examples of students that are coming together to do different activities. On the left, they went to a farm in the Gardner area and did activities that were educationally related. Looks like, a pumpkin math activity. And so different ways of kind of using math and measurement. But of course, then there was the fun aspect of going on a hayride, apple picking, that sort of thing. In the image on the right, we had a Canes arcade activity. That's where students use found and recycled materials to build games, think pinball games and that kind of a thing. So it was a STEM activity: science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Content and concepts were pre-taught prior to the meetup. And then, of course, students are able to get together and have fun with those activities. So that happens about once a month with the school, where we have an opportunity for students to come together. Another unique way in which we're able to bring learning to life, and the benefit of not being bound by buildings and bells, is that we can have our teachers go out. So this is one of our high school teachers who was teaching, I think, her senior English class. They were reading On Walden Pond by Thoreau. So she went to Walden Pond. Looks like in the middle of the winter, and she taught her live lesson from Walden Pond. So she was able to go there, show the students, again, virtually, the replica of the cabin, speak with a park ranger there, engage students in the learning, obviously relate it to the literature that they're reading. And so very unique opportunity our teachers are able to take advantage of. She didn't have to get a sub to cover her class while she was out, right? She was working with the students. And so we've had teachers do a few things like this, take advantage of what a virtual education allows us to hopefully bring some learning to life in slightly different ways, in pretty innovative ways. The keys to success here. So online learning, it's different. It is very different. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's just pretty much the same. It helps to be a self-directed learner. Now, obviously, we know every student doesn't come to us with that as a skill set. So that is something that we work on with students, and help them develop those self-directed learning skills. The role of the learning coach is essential to this. The learning coach helps guide the student in their learning, right? They're not responsible for delivering the instruction or the curriculum. They're there to support it. Obviously, the support of a learning coach for a first grade student is going to look very different than that of an 11th grade student, for example. And we're certainly cognizant of that. But there does need to be an identified adult that is in the role of the learning coach to support the learning. And so we have, self-directed learners utilizing the tools, the scheduling tools, the other tools that are in Canvas to help students stay on track and stay on top of their learning. They don't have a teacher leaning over their shoulder saying, come on, just try this next problem here and I'll help you through it, right? You can do that virtually, but as you can see, it's just a little bit different. Other keys to success: attending and participating in live lessons. If you're part of the GCVS Live, again, the bulk of our school, go into live lessons. It's required, but it's also essential. That's where the learning happens. So stay engaged in the live lessons. Keeping up with assignments, using the tools that are in the learning management system to know when assignments are due, and keeping up with that, just like you would in regular school. And then communication and supports. We have a lot of supports here that are designed to just help students with their learning. Obviously, the teachers are delivering the curriculum and the content, but of course, they're there to help students succeed. And we have our schedule built into our schedule as times and opportunities for teachers to support students. We have family engagement coordinators at all levels, elementary, middle, and high. They act as that liaison between the family and the teacher to make sure that the student is getting the support that they need so that they can focus on their learning. And of course, guidance counselors at the high school level that perform the function, just as I said, in a brick and mortar school. But again, they're there to support the learning. Utilize those supports, reach out to those supports. Again, we don't necessarily have eyes on students all the time. And so if a student is struggling or has not shown up for a few days, obviously there's outreach on our part, but keeping that line of communication we found is a very, very much a key to success here. Create a dedicated learning environment in the home. It's very important that there's a spot in the home where school happens, right? So it could be in a bedroom or it could be in the living room, in a corner, something like that. But, create a dedicated learning spot. We have very much found that that is a key to success, where students know this is where I go to do school. So we have two siblings on the end. They have their desks, they have their Chromebooks set up, and then we have a student in the middle. In fact, looks like he's in distress, but he's actually engaged in a live lesson. You can see the dad is there in the background doing his work, but also supporting the student. And so, the kid's got this dedicated spot in which to do school. And so he can watch a live lesson, engage and participate in a live lesson, in a dedicated spot that's away from distractions and can focus on learning. So if you're thinking about this as an option for you and your family, think about what's that dedicated learning environment going to be so that we know when you're there, that's where school is going to happen. So the learning coach, again, I've spoken briefly about this throughout the presentation. So being at home with your child during the day, again, expectations for a first grader learning coach versus 11th grade learning coach, as you might suspect, are different, but supporting the student, monitoring in the moment, right? Just because they're on the computer does not mean that they're doing the right thing. It's very easy to have another tab open and they're distracted by something that's on the internet or YouTube or something like that. We have means of particularly if you're using a Chromebook, of filtering and keep, content filters and that sort of thing. But fact of the matter is, you need to monitor in the moment. You need to make sure that the students are doing school when it's time for doing school. Canvas has observer accounts. So every learning coach has an observer account that's tied directly to their student, and you can use the app that is available from Canvas on your iPhone or your Android device, and you can keep track of the students, right? You can see exactly what are the upcoming assignments, what does the schedule look like for today, when are live lessons supposed to be happening. So this observer account tied directly to the student allows you to monitor students and how they're doing, but it's incumbent upon the learning coach to utilize it. Of course, you can utilize it on a computer as well, but we have definitely found that many of our learning coaches just get the app. They are able to quickly check in and see where the student's at and see, remind you, you've got this assignment due on Friday. How are you coming on it? That kind of thing. So again, utilizing the technology to support the learning. So learning coach meetings happen periodically. About once a quarter, our family engagement coordinators will organize optional opportunities for learning coaches to come together. We've got some learning coaches that have been with the school for many, many years, and so the opportunity to get their feedback and hear about what they're doing to make sure that the learning is successful. And so we have opportunities for learning coaches to get together, but then of course we have some themes and some other things that are gone through with learning coaches to kind of make sure that they're able to help support learning. So optional, about once a quarter, we have learning coach meetings that our family engagement coordinators work pulled together. Again, I talked about reaching out to making sure, it's very much normal for teachers to hear from Parents are learning coaches about the students and the learning. It's, it's what our teachers expect. And so they're more than happy to engage in the conversation with the parent to make sure that the learning is happening and being supported in the best way possible. And ensuring participation in MCAS testing. Again, you cannot opt out of MCAS. That is something that is legislated in the state of Massachusetts. So making sure that students are able to participate in MCAS, getting them to MCAS testing. We fan out all over the state to sites all over so that families are not having to travel far to participate in MCAS testing, which happens every spring. But where's all this headed, right? This is pointing towards this. This is the previous year's graduating class. I need to update it with the most recent graduating class. And like I said, each year the graduating class is growing, but even though we're a virtual school, we have very much a real graduation with caps and gowns and walking across the stage and receiving your diploma. And so again, this is where it's going, which is to try and get students to be successful, to carry on their education or get them ready for college or career. And we're trying to get students to be successful. We also measure success in different ways, though. We know that a student might opt to come to us for a bit of time and then re-enroll back into a brick and mortar school or a different program or something like that. That's the reality of it. So when a student is here with us, we will we'll do whatever we can to support them to make sure they're successful, whether it be to get across the finish line and graduate with us, or whether it be to get ready for the next decisions that are made in terms of their education and where they're going to take advantage of their education. So something that we take very seriously here for sure. And like I said, connection between school and family is very tight here. So we have some teachers with some of our students taking at the end of the year picnic, celebrating end of the year and the time together. So even though it's virtual, the connections are built and we're able to grow those connections and those relationships just like you would in a traditional school environment. There is that info@gcvs.org and our website. Of course, you can get a lot of answers there. So please feel free to email if you have questions about the programs or any way in which we can help you. Go to the website. The enrollment process is detailed on the website if you want to begin the process of looking at GCVS as a school option. I want to thank you, everyone, and hope you have a very nice day. Thank you.